Happy Saturday, everyone. Hello. This is Rona. I'm in my workout gear today. So I have not worked out, but maybe I'll work out on the lawn in a few minutes. Happy Saturday. I am on the lawn. I'm sorry, there's a big bug going across my pool area. On the lawn this Saturday. I wanted to come on the lawn and show you all one-stop shops. We have a lot of newbies in the group, and our starter sets have been selling like literally like crazy the last few weeks. And in the starter sets are one-stop shops. And so for the newbies, and even for those of you that have been doing this for a while, I wanted to show the one-stop shops, and I wanted to talk about steaks. Even today, someone messaged me, hey, I bought some steaks, or I had some steaks in my starter pack, or I bought some steaks from someone else, and all my steaks are breaking. And steaks are, first of all, an investment. They are a tool that's really important, and you really can't afford to get the wrong steaks. And so I wanted to talk to you all about steaks, and show you how to set up the one-stop shop. Now, this is a one-stop shop, but sort of the thought process that I'm going to walk you through, you can use that for any quick set. And then there are some tips even that you can use if you're doing an easy set. So I don't want you to think, especially if you're a newbie, like, hey, Rona, this is great, but can you set up an Easter quick set for me? Can you set up a prom quick set for me? Like, you don't need someone to show you how to set up every single thing. Look at the science behind the setup, and the thought process behind the setup, and then take those tips and that thought process and apply it to any setup that you're doing. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to do one-stop shop. I'm going to talk about steaks as I do the setup. And if I have time, I'm going to show you all the prom easy fold as well. If you haven't seen it, it's on sale in the shop this week. Woo! And this is what it looks like. This is the black and gold. Yes, I am working on colors, but the website really doesn't do this thing any justice. It is absolutely stunning. See if I could back up here. This is just the easy fold piece. It also comes with curtains. And once you add your balloons to this, you really don't need anything else. Now, if you want to add a limo, a tuxedo, a dress or any of those cutesy things, you can, but you don't really need to. Once you add balloons to that prom easy fold set, you don't need to add anything else. It's big, it is bold, it says the message in 10 seconds or less, really 5 seconds or less, because it's so huge. And this is just an amazing buy, especially if you're doing something for indoor proms. This is super easy to go on a stand and put at the start or the entry point of the venue. It has lots of sparkles on it, as you can see. Like I said, the website really doesn't do this piece any justice. It is absolutely gorgeous. So we have this on the website right now. If I have time, I don't want to make this video too long. So if I have time, I'll set this one up because this has actually been one of our best sellers this week. And so I want to show you what it looks like live if I have time. If I don't do it via video, what I'll do is I will go ahead and set it up, and then I'll take some pictures that you can use for marketing. But this is the prom easy fold. I don't call it an overload because it doesn't have balloons with it, and it doesn't come with a whole lot of the 6 other pieces. It just folds. So it literally folds up like this. It's one fold. Put it in your car, put it in your garage, your storage area, your shed. Fold it up however which way you do it. But it's easy fold. It's easy to transport, easy to install. So just that's a quick hit on the prom. And again, if I get to it, I'll show you how to set that up really quickly. Alrighty. So one-stop shop. The first thing I'm going to say is, if you are a newbie and you don't have balloon panels, get you some. So if you look in our half sheet shop, we have balloon panels, and we also have balloon panels that you can get by the full sheet. Some people use 2 panels in every setup. I typically only use 1 unless I have a really long name. But as you can see, I started this already, and I put in the name and I put in the balloon panel. That is typically how I start my setup. So again, if you're a newbie and you're thinking about how do I even like, what's step one? What's the first thing I do? I typically start my setup by putting in the balloon panel first, and then I put the name in front of the balloon panel, and I usually do about 4 inches between the balloon panel and the name. So again, if you are a vet, this is probably not the video for you, but if you're a newbie, this is going to be super helpful. So I usually put about 4 inches or about this much between my name and my balloon panel. Why do I start there first? My balloon panel gives me my straight line, and it helps me make sure I'm putting my name in a straight line. So I line it up to my balloon panel in a way that I can make sure my name is in a straight line. So I use the balloon panel to give me straight lines. Hey, Angelica, Angelique, and Angelica, and Yvette. Hey, y'all. So that's a tip that I use. Again, every vet will kind of tell you different things, but I see a lot of newbies saying, how do you get straight lines? How do you make sure your name isn't like this? And that's one tip that I use. I start with my balloon panel, and then I put in my name. So the next question you're going to ask me is, what size letters are these? When I'm doing easy sets, I use 23-inch letters. When I'm doing quick sets, which is what I do most of the quick, I use 18-inch letters. So these are 18-inch letters. These are the bouncy shadow box font letters, which are actually on sale in the shop right now, and they're in white. I love white letters, but I don't love boring white letters. So we added a bouncy, a shadow box font to ours, or a shadow box effect, because I don't like boring white letters. Alrighty, so that's where I started. This is all installed using a 12-inch stake. All right, I think I'm back. These are in the shop, but these are 12-inch stakes. They have a 90-degree angle. That's what I use for my balloon panel. That's what I use for my name. 12-inch stakes. That's what I use. I don't use H stakes and cut them up and all that stuff. I don't have time for that. So I just get 12-inch stakes, and that's what I use. You can find these in the tool shop for JYS. For those of you texting me, I am trying to do a live, so I'll get back to you later. All right, so let's do this. So I'm going to set this up. I'm actually going to set it up as a 2-color one-stop shop, just to show you how the pieces actually can work together to give you different combinations. So in the starter pack, we have a red one-stop shop, a blue one-stop shop, a pink, and a purple. And ask any veteran, those are your main, most popular colors, the 2 most popular colors for girls and the 2 most popular colors for boys. And then if you get the deluxe set, you also have gold. And gold is a popular neutral. Gold is a popular neutral. So we really designed our starter sets to give you the most requested colors and not a whole lot of extra frill that you might never use, quite frankly. So I'm going to show you how to take a blue and a red and actually combine it. So when your customer says, I want blue and red for a boy, because that is, again, a very requested color combination, I'm going to show you how you can actually interchange the one-stop shop pieces and color combos to get a fuller setup and to meet your customer's needs. So I started there. And the first thing I'm going to do is actually show you a tip that I use, which is why I started by saying you want to get balloon panels. So if you're a newbie, balloon panels don't come in the starter set. But if you're a newbie, get you some balloon panels. This is a balloon panel. It's behind my name, and it's blocking all the holes. I call it being like a snag of tooth, like, you got a lot of gaps in your teeth. I don't like that look in my setups. So my balloon panels create an effect that looks more picturesque, and it covers up all the holes in the letters. So that's one reason why I use a balloon panel. Another reason is I don't actually put my centerpiece on a stake. I actually put my centerpiece when I'm doing one-stop shops on stacking pins. So I take the stacking pins, and I'll show you what a stacking pin is in a second. And I put them in. I always use 2. Okay. And then I actually put my centerpiece on the stacking pin. This allows me to not have to deal with using a stake that might actually cover up part of my letters and part of my message. So again, this is a Rona tip. And as you can see, once I put that in, it sits perfectly on top of my balloon panel. So I'm not dealing with, because somebody messaged me the other day and said, I feel like my stakes are too tall. And then sometimes you have people say, I feel like my stakes are too short, and it's covering up my message. So for our one-stop shops, I made the centerpiece small enough that it can actually go on the balloon panel and not be too heavy and not be too big. But you can still see the message, right? You still see it pretty clearly. So that's one tip I'll give you in setting up a one-stop shop. Get you some stacking pins and actually put the one-stop shop, layer it onto your balloon panel. So that's done. The next thing I'm going to show you is this 35-inch cake. So in the pictures, you see that the cake is actually sitting behind the happy birthday centerpiece. And some of you have messaged me, Rona, how did you do that? Well, I use our 6x38 stakes. So if you have our starter set, or if you have our 6x38 stakes, the whole kit, or if you have our starter bundle kit, you have these 6x38 stakes in there. So this is why we included them in there, so you can stake your cake. That was the purpose. So literally, these are heavy duty 6x38 stakes. They are not going to break. You can ask anybody in the group who has these stakes. They are a game changer. You can only get them from JYS. We custom make them. They are heavy duty and double bar. So when you look at them, you can see the double bar there. They are not like other folks' stakes at all, because we custom make them to be heavy duty. This metal here is much thicker than your typical stake. And they go in very easily the way you need them to. So you're going to take your cake and you're going to use your 6x38 stake, which came in your starter set stake kit. And you're going to slide it in there. And then you're going to take this piece and you're going to put it right up against your centerpiece. Make sure it's centered. Push it in. You might want to pull it up a little bit off of the stake. And bam, there you go. And my grass is super hard today, just so you know. Alrighty, so I have my cake in. I'm gonna pull it up just a little bit more on the stake. But these stakes also, from a heavy duty standpoint, it's important because I don't need to put a bunch of fence posts and stuff like that behind my cake, because these stakes are heavy duty. They don't move. So even in tough winds, I've tried them out. We literally had an entire tornado in our backyard. Maybe a couple of months ago, I had a setup over there in the corner. I had it on these 6x38 stakes. It did not move. So let me see. Yes, heavy duty stakes. If you are dealing with flimsy stakes, let me see if I have any out here to show you the difference. I don't, but I'll do a picture. I don't, because I don't use them. I'll do a picture to show you all later the difference. But 6x38 stake. Now, most of you know I'm almost 6 feet. And so now look at me and look at this cake. It's almost my height. So this setup is already almost 6 feet tall. It's a few inches short. And I'm not even halfway done. So the next thing I'm going to do is actually put in my balloons. So one-stop shops, and for those of you that don't have the starter set, we have one-stop shops in the sale actually this week right now for $77. We have all the fun colors. The starter set has the basics. So these are the balloons in the one-stop shop set. And these are not your typical balloon bundles. They're actually angled, as you can see, to the left and to the right. If you are newbie, we call this mirrored. You don't want to buy balloons that look the same on both sides. You want them to be mirrored to one another. So when you see me say mirrored, this is what I'm talking about. Okay? So this one is your left side, this one is your right side, and you see they have a slight angle to them so they can fit perfectly next to your cake. So these I'm going to put on a heavy duty 10 by 30 steak. You have those in your bundle kits as well, in your steak bundle kits. So this is a 10 by 30 heavy duty steak. Okay, 10 by 30 heavy duty steak. This is what you have in your steak bundle kit. So I'm going to put my balloons on here. And actually, I'm going to do it with a heavy duty, with a 10 by 30. I might need to switch it to a 6 by 38. I'll see in a second. Let me see if it's tall enough. No, because I want this balloon to sit right here. So I'm going to switch this to a 6 by 38 steak because I want it to sit tall. So again, 6 by 38 steak. I'm going to slide this in. And if y'all hear me a little winded, it's like 85 degrees here today. So it's hot. It's hot in Houston. All right. Yep, that's more so where I want it to sit. So I'm going to slide that on in. And I am putting this right behind my balloon panel. Again, remember I said I use my balloon panel as a way to help me keep everything straight. It's like a little guide. So I'm going to put that there. That's kind of perfect. And then I'm going to put my other mirrored balloon on the other side. And again, we have some of these in our sale this week, One Stop Shops. And obviously, I'm doing a lot of talking. But if I were just setting this up on the lawn, this is a 10 to 15 minute setup. It's really quick because all the pieces are made to fit together. And some of you all have said, yeah, Ron, I studied your picture and I made my one-stop shop look just like that. And that's why I do mock-ups, so that you don't have to like wreck your brain over, what's a great way to set it up. All righty. So I'm going to put this one in here, left and right of my cake. I'm going to make sure they're even. Now I got the sniffles because it is truly hot and it's air conditioned in my house. All right. So now I'm going to show you something else that's in your steak bundle kit. 1 second. All righty. In your steak bundle kit, you also have used steaks. They look like this. These, again, are custom made by JYS. You can get these off of Amazon. I've tried that myself. The Amazon used steaks are not made for yard carding. They're actually made for gardening. And so some people have found some that work great. Some people, like you all, reach out to me and say, I hate them. They're too thick. They're too long. They rust really fast. Well, that's because they're actually made for gardening. They're not made for yard carding. So we made these for yard carders. They're the perfect size, and they're the right metal to actually be putting in and out of your yard cards. And they're not going to rust on you. So why do you want to use these? If today were super windy, I would use these to number one, attach my cake that is now sitting almost 6 feet tall, right? That's pretty tall. And my balloons that are sitting right there with them, I would use these to attach them. I would use these instead of using tape. And I'm going to show you why, whenever possible, you don't want to use tape. I'm going to show you that too. So that's what these are for in your steak bundle kits. So the way that you use them is that you literally, from the top, I can attach this cake in this balloon by sliding in this U pin or this U steak like that. And now they're attached. So when the wind comes, that cake and that balloon are now more stable and they aren't going to blow all over the place. And I don't have to use tape to keep them together. Now, I do use tape. Not telling you I don't use it at all. But the reason why I try to limit the amount of tape I use is because of this. Now, my husband did this, and I fussed at him. A lot of you all know my husband does our cards. But when you get tape on the front of your core roll and you leave it there too long, this is what happens. Y'all see that? It tears off your ink. So this was sitting in my garage probably for the last couple of months. I haven't used it in a while. And when I went to clean off my balloons this morning and I pulled that piece of tape off, it did this on my ink. So first of all, never tape to the front of your graphic. I don't care what vendor tells you what. The ink will come off if it's a good tape. And I use Gorilla Tape, heavy duty Gorilla Tape, which is an amazing tape. If you put that on the top of your ink and you leave it there too long, it's going to come off. So as much as possible, use U-stakes and use U-stakes that are actually made for yard cards. But that's why you don't want to use tape when you don't have to. But never use tape on the front of your designs, which is what I had to tell my husband. All right, so I'm actually almost done. I'm going to add in my red balloons now. So again, in the starter set, you have red and blue. And this is why I love solid sets, right? So like red and white, blue and white, green and white, purple and white. I love solid sets because you can mix them up really good. So again, here are my mirrored balloons. This one's for my right, this one's for my left. Now I'm going to use my heavy duty 10 by 30 stakes. So I started off with 6 by 38 stakes. And now I'm going to use 10 by 30 stakes to sort of start to give me a more layered look, or I call it a waterfall look. So what do I mean by waterfall look? My sign looks like it starts here and then it waterfalls to the left or to the right and waterfalls to the left, right? And it's symmetrical. So that cake is actually my point of center, and everything that I do in the rest of my setup is going to be symmetrical. Brain science, brain research, I'm an educator, so give you a research moment. Brain research says that art that is symmetrical is more pleasing to the eye. I'm going to say that again. Research says that art that is symmetrical is actually more pleasing to the eye. So when you're thinking about your yard card designing, you want some symmetry because that's going to be more pleasing to your buyer. This is why I create pieces. While they may not always be the same piece, they're at least the same in height or the same in width on the left and the right to allow you to create symmetry in your setups. So that's just a piece of research. So I'm gonna put this balloon in here on my 10 by 38 stake. 10 by 30 stake. You want to make sure it's actually behind the panel because otherwise you're going to see your stake. You don't want to see stakes, friends. So I'm going to stick it in there behind my panel. Push it down. All right. And I didn't push that down enough. I'm trying to get it into layers here. I probably should have done my 10 by 30 first. Actually, there's something in the ground that won't let me get this in. Now it's cutting me. Be careful because Kokoro will give you the most serious paper cuts. All right. So that one's in there. I'm going to get me another 10 by 30 heavy duty stake. Put it in my other bundle. And then I'm actually going to be in the home stretch of this design, this setup. Always make sure your fork or the U of your steak my balloons are wet. We just cleaned them off. Is straight when trying to put it into your core roll, otherwise it won't go in. Alrighty. So I'm going to do just a little straightening here. Alrighty. Sometimes I like to tilt my balloons. It depends on what I have going on. but I also want to make sure that, again, it's symmetrical. This one's sticking out a little bit more than that, but y'all get the point. Alrighty, so now I'm in the home stretch. I'm gonna put in my cupcakes, my gift boxes, my stars, and I'm done. So I'm back to 12-inch stakes on this. Now, one thing I would say, if you are on the lawn, try to make it out on the lawn. Try to make it a habit of pre-staking at home, especially if you're going out at night. So as much as possible, pre-stake at home, especially if you're going out at night, to speed up your setup time. And my lawn is not great today, so this is not going to slide in like butter, but this is the real deal of being a yard carder. I asked my husband to water the grass, and just like a customer, he did not. All right, so those are my gift boxes. And you can see this one is actually crooked. I usually stake or insert from the back. It helps me not have that lean. That's just something I do because it helps me. All right, next I'm gonna put in my cupcake. Again, one on each side for symmetry, 12-inch stakes. Sorry, I'm sniffling you all. I did not feel great today, but I committed to doing this. So I wanted to make sure I got on and did this live for those of you that have been asking. All right, cupcakes, 12-inch stakes. One for the left, one for the right. Notice how I am overlapping my graphics just a little bit. You can still see them both, but I do have a little bit of an overlap. There is something in the ground here, so this one is not going to go in the way it should. Okay, so that looks good. I'm going to add in my red gift boxes. Or not, because I don't see my right stakes for that. All right. I didn't bring my 24-inch stakes out here, and I don't want you all to have to wait on me. But when I put the final picture in the group, I'm going to put my red gift boxes right here on the 24-inch stake. So one here and one here to close up those gaps. So you'll see the final picture in the group, and I'll put them in, but I don't want you to have to wait for me to do that because I have to go in the garage and get some stakes. All right, and then last but not least, I always say don't throw away your little pieces. Don't do away with them because they can fill in holes in your setup, number one, and they're really cute. So the one-stop shop comes with these little stars, and I'm using my stacking pins again, and I'm just going to use these little stars to fill in some little holes. And again, you want to make sure you're being symmetrical. So this star is actually bigger than this one, so I'm going to move that one. I'll fix it in a second. But I love the little pieces. I say don't forget about the little people. Or in this case, the little pieces. Because they do add a little bit of pop to your setup. Some people don't like to be bothered with them, and I respect that. But I found use for every piece over time when doing the setup. Every piece has a purpose. All right, so here I'm going to use these little red stars. Again, I'm going to use these stacking pins. I'm actually going to just layer this onto the C here. Just adds a little cutesy stuff. Nothing big. Yes, you can do without it. But if you have it and you have the time, why not? And I'm done. So if I were to put an age on this, where would I put it? I would put that gift box right here. And then I don't have any out here, but I would put the if I had a age, let's say it was 10, I would put it right here in my setup. Hopefully you can see that. So that's where I would put the age for those of you that are wondering about that.